AIM-listed Pelatro, a marketing software specialist, has seen its shares rise recently in the wake of full-year earnings, which showed a 160% rise in revenues and a commensurate rise in profits. Subash Menon is Managing Director. He joins us now with some more. Welcome.
Hi.
I'd like to get onto the business model in just a minute, but very briefly, can you comment on these numbers? What's been driving growth at the business?
I think we've come up with a product which is being very well received by the market, by the telcos, primarily because of the differentiation that we have managed to build into the product as compared to what things were earlier with our competition and such like. So that's exactly what's driving. I mean, the adoption of the product by the telcos, once they see that it's a very, very differentiated and efficient product, which really helps them.
Yeah. So what is the business model behind this then? Because you mentioned telcos. I said you're a marketing software specialist. Explain precisely what it is you do, which is generating this sort of interest in these numbers that we've seen.
Basically, we help the telcos to understand their subscribers much better, to profile the subscribers, and then send offers and promotions and products to those subscribers which are very relevant and contextual. Now, what's happening in the telco industry is a paradigm shift. There was a time when everything was product-centric, where they would just offer the products and they'll hawk the products and people can take whatever they want. That's changed now, or is it changing now, to being customer-centric, where you have to understand the customers are demanding now, and then offer the right products. To do that, it's an absolute, it's very essential to understand who your customers are, what they want, and so on and so forth. So this is what we provide. A lot of intelligence into who your subscribers are, what they want, what their likes and dislikes are, so that the telcos can then promote products in line with the expectation.
And the software you're using, my understanding is that it's you write it. It's purely your own software, and this is being patented. Is that right?
Yeah, the entire IP is owned by us, of course, and certain elements. I mean, you don't patent the whole thing, of course. Right. Certain elements of it where we've taken some technology which is like commonly used by others, and we've improved that, we've modified that, we've innovated on that. So those are the parts that we are in the process of patenting. We have got a couple of provisional patents in place at this point in time, and we are now going through the process of completing that so that we get the firm patents. So it's, yeah, we would end up patenting a variety of things that we have been doing, because those are the innovations which have really helped us to differentiate our product from the rest of the world. Yeah.
What about the rest of the world? What about the competition? Who is the competition directly in your business?
So we normally see about a dozen competitors, and there are some of the names you would recognize are like IBM and Oracle and SAS and such like. There are other smaller players as well. So that's the kind of competition that we come across, and we've been replacing and we've been beating them in different situations, different opportunities, and we've also been replacing them, because in our business it's all about replacing. The telcos would have some product or the other, and we end up replacing some of the incumbents.
How big is this business? I mean, globally, you operate, I think, in a number of different jurisdictions.
It is very large in the sense, see, anybody out there who is not using our product, in theoretical sense, is a potential customer of ours. So that's what it is. So when you look at it out, I mean, we're probably looking at about 300 telcos whom we could be targeting in the medium term at this point in time. And if you look at probably about half a $1 million of revenue from each of them, initially, then that's the opportunity, which is quite large. So I would think that the opportunity is very large for us to grow quite substantially in the next few years.
Yes, I said at the top you make a profit. Clearly, presumably there's a fair bit of money that goes into the sales team, the marketing and so forth. How much are you having to set aside? Because clearly this is something where there are opportunities out there, but you've got to work hard to go and get those opportunities.
Yeah, so I think we've got the product right now. We just have to get the sales in place, the marketing in place. So that's where, as you rightly pointed out, a lot of investment is going to be going forward. So I would think that on an annual basis, we will have to earmark a few $1 million for that as we keep growing, depending upon. See, we're a profitable company, and we expect to be profitable going forward. So we don't intend to go and do and splurge $10 million next year and be a loss-making company. That's not the idea. So I think it'll be in line with our growth. So at this point in time, maybe this year, maybe a couple of $1 million is what we would invest in, or $1.5 million is what we would invest in that. And as time goes by, we'll keep stepping it up. In my earlier company, we started off with 2 salespeople, and over a span of about 7 or 8 years, we expanded that to a 40-member team. Yeah. So in the next 5 years, that could very well happen.
Are you replicating what you're doing here, what you've done before? Because what you've done before was a successful entry. I think you sold that on, didn't you?
We are only replicating our ideas and thoughts with regard to how to go to the market and how to sell to the customers, not the product itself. So we don't compete with our earlier company. We are nowhere near that. And ethically, I don't want to do that, and I would not do that. So what they have is a fraud and revenue assurance product, the earlier company. What we have is on the marketing side, completely different. I would say they are on the cost side of telcos business. We're on the revenue side of telcos business. So very different. The only common thing is that both sell into telcos, and the process we have adopted to actually go through a selling process as an enterprise software sale is the same, but otherwise absolutely no competition.
What about the protection of individuals' data? I mean, this has come up recently. Of course, the GDPR rules have come in place. We've heard a lot about the high-profile companies like Microsoft, but Facebook most notably. How do you interact with that? I mean, presumably there is a data protection element to what you're doing.
Yeah, so as an organization, we do not exactly see their data. Our product is implemented within the firewall of the telco, and they use a product on their data. So there's no GDPR exposure for us as an organization. The product itself should have the ability to do what is required under GDPR for the telco to segregate data, anonymize data, keep it aside, and stuff like that. That exists in the product. But for Pelatro as an organization, there's no exposure on the GDPR front.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about the shareholders. I understand you've got a couple of larger shareholders on the books, which I think are on the website, aren't there? What about the retail base as well? You came to the market in December last year at, what, 62.5 pence, I believe, here in London. It's currently trading just over 81 pence a share. What's the message to investors at this sort of level and your expectations for growth?
Okay, so I believe that the organization is absolutely poised for growth, and the reason why I believe that is we're actually following a script. Let me put it that way. I mean, this is where I'm taking this from my earlier organization where we followed a script and it was very successful. We're trying to do this thing. So what we have done is we've put a few building blocks in place at this point in time. One, we've got a product which is absolutely differentiated from the competition. It is very well accepted by the market. Two, we've got some very good references in the telco space. Some very large organizations. The largest customer we have has about 90 million subscribers. So you go to any telco and you share your experience of working with a telco with 90 million subscribers. That's very relevant for everybody. That's the second thing. Third thing, now we're public, we've got a strong balance sheet, we've got a good position and stuff like that. So I think we've got all these things in place, and now we're going to build on that. We do have some very good shareholders in our register at this point in time, the likes of Herald and Maven and some of those Rathbones and people who have come in. So our objective and our message at this point in time to the shareholders is that this is an organization which has got its building blocks in place at this point in time. And now it is time for us to grow on the basis of that quite significantly and substantially in the years to come, both organically and inorganically. So that's what we will focus on, and I think there'll be some very, very good growth happening over the next few years in this company.
Okay. Well, look, good luck with everything, and let us know how things go. But we're looking forward to more of the signposts to show you're on target for your growth. But Subash Menon, thanks indeed for joining us from Pelatro, where he is Managing Director. Subscribe to IG for educational content, company insight, financial analysis and expert commentary.